This is going to be an update on the PVC pack frame. I found a couple flaws in my design. The first one was I took it on a 3-mile hike and I noticed the back of the frame was kind of hitting on my neck. The second one is, Jason pointed out to me, is if we look right down here, when I put the other bend in there to fit actually on my back, because when it was straight, it was 3 inches away from my shoulder blades, so I put this second bend in here. And if you look, as the back supports here are pushing on the pack itself, I've actually lost about 1.5 inches of storage space. Now, you might think that's not a lot, but actually it really is. So I need to make some modifications to the pack itself. I was looking at it and was trying to figure out how to do this without losing space. So I kind of looked at the design. You can kind of see how it's set up right here. You got your first curve. It's supposed to rest on your shoulder blades. And then I put the second curve in there so it'll rest up against my back. Because if I leave it straight, it just doesn't fit right. So I got to looking at the original pack frame. Let me go grab that. And if you notice on the original Alice pack frame, you got your first little bend here. It's not very progressive. But look down here. You notice that here's the frame. Then the belt actually sits away from the frame. I want to say that looks about 2 and maybe 2.5 inches. So somehow I need to incorporate that. Let me go put this away. Into the pack itself down here. So I'm thinking a couple of options I got is, one, take this bend back out and then bend this back a little bit more so it's not so progressive and make a slower bend on the pack, or design something down here on the waist belt where it sticks out probably 2.5 inches or more, a little bit better. Now, as you can see, I've got it pretty much well set up because I've actually been using it, trying to see what I like about it and dislike. I've got my emergency shelter stashed here on the top. And if I was going to do some actual camping, I would probably go ahead and put my sleep mat on there. Down here, I've got a new little toy. Picked up a cover for my e-tool. Got this off of Amazon for roughly about $9. Very, very, very cheap. And it fits a Copman or a Coleman foldable shovel. And I really like that. I'm going to have to get that out and use it. Now down here, of course, where I got the sleep system, let me show you how I got this attached. What we're going to do is I'm going to flip this over. And if you look, I've got it attached down to the bottom rack. Here's the bottom rack. And I've got the straps cinched around the rack. They come up towards the back here. And then they go around the other set of racks. And finally, we come right here. Comes around the other rack, and that way it holds it on there really tight. It doesn't flop around. And I don't have to worry about the weight moving, which is really a good thing when you're hiking up and down some rough terrain. So let's pull this off real quick, and I'll show you what else we got going on. Okay, it fits on it really easy. I mean, it did take me no time at all to set this frame up, which made me very, very happy. It looks like it's taking me a little more time to detach it. Okay, let's pull this out of the way. As you can see, right here, it fits perfectly in between the Alice pack and the bottom shelf. Now, let's look how I got the belt attached. Down here, I've got the belt attached between this support and this support right here, going around the bottom where the bottom shelf and this meet, and the same here. Now originally I had the belt up here between these two supports. The problem was, after I put the bend in the frame, I've lost about, I want to say 3/4, maybe to 1 inch on the top of the pack, and it wasn't hitting my shoulders right. So I had to actually just kind of move the belt down a little bit, but that wasn't a big deal. I think when I take the band out of the top and maybe do a little bit more modifications to it, I can actually move it back up a little bit. But that's the good thing about a PVC pack frame, is you can cut, change, heat, mold, and move it around as much as you want. So it's not really that big a deal. So I'm just going to pull this belt off real quick and show you what else I got going on. A couple things real quick. The correct way to put the belt on, I'm not really sure. Now, some say there's a little curve in the belt and you put that down towards the bottom of your butt. I found when I do that, the pack actually kind of slides off a little bit. Let me show you. Kind of slides down your back, which it's not a good thing when you got a heavy load on there, because it kind of defeats the whole purpose of having a belt. Now I noticed if I turn the belt upside down, and I don't know if this is the correct way or not, because if you see here, the words are actually upside down when or it's printed on the back of the belt. But when I turn it upside down, it catches right here in the small of my back and the top of my big butt right there, and it fits on there quite nicely and doesn't slide. So if any of you could actually answer the question to this, I'd be really appreciative if you put it down in the comment box. Hang on one second. Scout, quit chewing the tripod. Don't chew the tripod. Okay. Now the straps, I simply just attach down here. If you look right at the bottom where the belt was, not a big deal. You can kind of move these up and down wherever you want to place them on there. It's really not that big of a deal for the straps. And that's where I found them the most comfortable. Now if we look right here on the top, what I did is I just looped it around the pack frame. And then I looped it on the Alice pack itself. It's got a little bitty clip right here, and I looped it around just for a little extra safety and protection. That way, if I do have an accident and the frame does break, I don't lose the pack all of a sudden. And of course, this right here is for my extra tie-down straps to go from the top to the back of the pack and kind of hold everything on there. Now, right over here is where I attached the Alice pack to the frame itself, and it fits perfectly in between this support and this support right down here. Now as I'm removing the straps and everything else, you can see how much this curve is in here. That's just a lot of lost space, which is just not good on the trail. So let's simply remove this real fast. Another good thing I was thinking about when I was using this, a while back I used the Alice pack without the frame. So another thing is, if you did break the frame, you could pretty much discard it and set the pack up without the frame. It'll work just fine, as long as you're not carrying the sleep system. Okay, now pull these bottom straps off, and of course the quick release is on there. Very easy to use. And this thing comes apart quite a bit quick and back together even quicker. Okay, that way. Now, I'm going to pull the top part off of here real fast. So I'm going to set this down. Actually, let's flip it. Pull this off. There we go. Of course, here's the strap. I just wrapped it around the PCV tubing with no problem whatsoever. So there we got it disassembled. Now you can see the pack right here is perfectly flat. Before it had that big curve in it, which kind of defeated the purpose. So let's pull this aside. And of course we have the bare bones frame. So I think, like I said before, I'm going to pull either one of these cross sections out or one of these supports out, take this bend out of it, and then move this bend back just a little bit to put more of an arch in the pack itself, or try to design some way to make the belt come out at least, I want to say 2 inches, so I can put it on there, and then I won't need this bend at all, and it'll fit a lot normally. Because if you look at the original frame, do you think, about 2 or 3 inches? That's how much I've actually added to it. And this bend down here actually matches up with this bend I put in here, so that's where your shoulders are supposed to hit. Of course, my shoulders hit right up there. So this has kind of been your update on the PCV frame. Suggestions are more than welcome. Any input you have would really help me out with this project. And yeah, when I get it figured out, we'll be filming part 2. Like always, thanks for watching. I almost forgot. Scouters wants to say hi before I shut the camera off, right, babies? Say hi to everybody. Right there. Look. Right there. There you go. Alright, that's Scouters. Sorry about that, Scouters. Alright, I'll put you down now.